Hey guys, I'm E, and here's the thing. Today, in this video, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna talk about the 5 biggest mistakes I've ever made in my sports videography career. Hopefully, this video will inspire you guys, especially the beginners, to not be so afraid of trying new things and taking on jobs that you've never done before, because mistakes happen and, eventually people forget, move on, whatever. I've done plenty of mistakes and I'm still working in the industry doing just fine. So yeah, 5 biggest mistakes of my career starting now. Alright, so I wasn't too sure in what order to do these 5 mistakes. So I thought about it and I decided to go for a good old-fashioned countdown. So my 5th worst mistake happened a few years back doing headshots for an Australian football team. Basically, during the warm-up, players are on the field and then the starting lineup gets announced and the MC starts announcing players, and my headshots, which are like 8-second videos, all come up one after the other. So in this case, the MC says number 3, Mitch Wallace, and then Mitch's headshot comes on, and then it's number 4, Marcus Bontempelli, and Marcus Bontempelli's headshot comes on, and then number 6. What's his fucking name? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then number 6, Bailey Smith. And when Bailey Smith's headshot came on, the number on his jersey was 6, but in the graphics was 8. That was my mistake. Obviously it was quite embarrassing, but most importantly, a bit unprofessional. But, in the grand scheme of things, this happens in the warm-up. There's not that many people paying that much attention to these things. It was just one number, quick number out of like an 8-second video where everywhere else the number on the jersey was right. So I think the fans who did notice it sort of laughed at the situation. I fixed it for the next game and things were okay from then on. The client wasn't particularly happy about it, but they understood that mistakes can be made, and it was also sort of on them to double check all the videos that I sent them. So they obviously didn't, so there's so much blame they could put on my shoulders. But anyway, all in all, not that big of a deal. Number 4 on the countdown of the worst mistakes of my career is the time I recorded an interview without headphones. I forgot to bring my headphones, so I couldn't monitor what I was recording. So I decided to play it safe, kept the volume quite low to avoid any chance of distorted audio. But when I got back to the office and checked the result, it was quite obvious that there was much more background noise than I anticipated. And because I had a low volume on my recording and the background noise that was, I wouldn't say as loud as the interview, but not too far behind, it was a mess. Luckily, with a lot of work in addition, trying to clean up the audio as much as I could, which involved a lot of time spent on YouTube learning Audition and trying to find out the best way to clean up the worst audio ever. I managed to do a job decent enough that the client didn't, well, I don't know if they noticed, but they didn't talk about it, so I assume they didn't notice. And it taught me a lot about audio in post-production, taught me a lot about Audition and how it works and how to use it properly to really get the best of a recording and get rid of all the crap that I don't need. So today I would definitely say that I'm a better editor because of it. So that's also how I approach all these situations. Like in the moment, they're really stressful, they're really difficult, but once you get by, you realize that, you know what, I'm glad it happened because now I'm ready for the next time this happens, and now I'm much better, I'm much more equipped in terms of skills, experience. There's a lot less that can scare me. and it also prompted me to keep a pair of these in my backpack at all times. They're not the best headsets going around, but I just keep them in my backpack. I never use them, but if at least one day, again, I forget my real headphones, the good ones, then I know I've got a backup. The third biggest mistake of my career happened the day I bought cheap lights on eBay. When I first started my business, I didn't have much money and I needed lights. So I went on the internet and I found the cheapest kit of lights I could find that seemed to be doing an okay job as far as video production is concerned. And I found this kit, can't remember how much it was, but it was pretty cheap. And it was just 2 lights. I think it was called a YouTube kit actually. And looked alright, got it, and I had this shoot that was going on outside, but still, you know, people think that when you're outside you don't need lights, but the light coming from the sun tends to be way too harsh, so you need to sort of balance it out, and that's what I attempted anyway to do with these lights. But the reason they were so cheap was because everything was basically made out of plastic. And I set up my lights, everything was sort of looking good in terms of positioning, and then the first interviewee arrived, put it in position, put the lights, turned them on, everything sort of looked good, and then we started the interview, and about 2 minutes in, I heard pop, and then 10 seconds later, pop! The 2 light bulbs had literally exploded. As soon as I turned them on, the plastic slowly started to get hotter and hotter and started melting, and when it started like melting into the socket, it was a matter of seconds before the whole thing blew up, which was quite embarrassing. Luckily no one got hurt, no one got hit by any glass or anything like that. Actually, I think I still have them. Let me go check. Yes, this is it. See? Well, that was it. So these would come on a stand. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's all melted. So yeah, that melted in the socket, which led to the whole thing to explode. But luckily, as you can see, the interior is all sort of silver inside, so instead of using these the way they were meant to be used with the lights, I used them as reflectors, because like I said, we were outside, so I sort of positioned them so that they could reflect the light from the sun into the subject's face, and that sort of saved the day, saved energy as well. So yeah, we all won except for the light bulbs. The second biggest mistake of my sports videography career happened when I was still working as a video editor for the Montreal Canadiens. It was when the NHL just started to do shootouts, like when the game's still a draw after overtime. It used to be over, but can't remember what year they started to do shootouts as well. So the year after that, we decided to make the most of it by making a video that would play just before the shootouts, that would show, Carey Price's best saves and the other players' sort of best goals, and it would be like a bit of a hype reel, getting people into what's about to happen. And everybody loved it, except for assistant coach Kirk Muller at the time, who, when he saw that on the Jumbotron before the shootout, lost his shit, because we were basically exposing what our goalie tends to do during shootouts and what our best players tend to do during shootouts, which was giving the other team an edge, which in retrospect makes sense. But at the time, we were only focused on the entertainment value and didn't think of all this. So, sorry, Kirk. And yeah, the video only played once, and yeah, that was it. And the biggest mistake of my sports videography career also happened with the Montreal Canadiens. It's probably a mistake that we've all done at least once. Yeah, not proud of it. I realized it was happening as we were wrapping up, and I couldn't believe it. I had like sweat drops and everything. I forgot to record an entire interview. We were, when you're doing videos for a sports team, a professional one anyway, you usually have a media day before the season starts, during preseason, where all the players come in. You do everything you need to do with them in terms of headshots, interviews, funny videos, all that stuff. And one of the players came in, it was his turn. I can't even remember the guy's name, but he was like a new player. It was a big deal. It was like a free agent or something. And he was hilarious. He was super good. And athletes, they're not that great typically in front of the camera. They're a bit robotic. They're not that funny, most of them anyway. And he was perfect. He was hilarious. He was fun to work with. He was great on camera. We knew his videos were going to be a hit. But then as we're wrapping up, I went to press stop, and then the camera started recording. And it hit me right then. I was like, fuck, I know what that means. So yeah, it was embarrassing. It was very unprofessional. Since this day, I always double check, triple check, quadruple check in the first 30, 40 seconds of an interview that the red light and the red dot on my viewfinder are on. And yeah, you live and you learn. So on that note, I hope you guys appreciated this video for what it is, which is basically a way to tell everyone to not be worried, not be too stressed about doing something for the first time, or something that feels like it's maybe above your skill set, because that's how you learn. That's how you get better at things. It's by trying, it's by doing things that you were never capable of doing 5 minutes ago. So keep making mistakes, because every single one of them makes you that much better at sports videography. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. My name is E, and I hope I earned the privilege of your time.